I'll bring up a couple that I helped mentor as well. Come on up, Sean and Imelda. All right, here you go. So I will let them tell their story and just listen in, and you're going to be amazed. Go ahead, guys.
All right, so we're Sean and Imelda, normal people, super scared like everyone was talking about, like Dave was talking about. We actually got into real estate prior to Lifestyles. We had some single-family homes. We thought we were real smart. We were going to buy one, save up for 5 years, buy another one, save up for 5 years, buy another one. We came to the two-day class, and we had Del Walmsley back then. He's real straight to the point. He's like, that's dumb. He's like, let me teach you about a word called leverage. You could sell that house or refinance it and buy 5 more. So the $500 in cash flow you're making off that one, I could make you $2,000 in a month based on just understanding leverage. So that was our day one of the 2-day. We were like, bing, we don't even need to go to day 2. We're going to do this plan with single family. So she talked me into going to day 2, and then it was the multifamily day. We're like, we're selling all the greenhouses and buying a red one. So that's kind of our 2-day story there. But a little history about us. We've been married 12 years. We got 5 children together, as you can see on the screen. We've lived in Houston area our whole life. 18 years in oil and gas for me. I'm currently still in oil and gas. You'll see on my long-term goals to try to get out of that and do real estate full-time.
And I'm Imelda, like he said. I was in nursing for 11 plus years, and now I'm not.
Imelda, what kind of nurse are you, Imelda?
What was that?
What was your nurse? Like trachs, or what do you do? You know?
Clinical tech. I did a little bit of all specialties.
Awesome, okay.
So kind of exciting story about Imelda. She's a little shy to say, but we actually, in 2019, retired her from nursing. Now she's doing real estate full-time.
Wait,
it's kind of a funny joke on that because we always say she retired her from her 40-hour job week, and now she's working 80 for me.
She's working for herself.
Because I want to, because, you kind of, yeah.
Kirby went on and on about how awesome passive investing is, and passive investing is amazing. Lead investing is a little more work, but it's real beneficial for anyone in here who wants to be a passive, and you'll kind of see kind of on our deal.
So I want to point out, what do you do for the oil and gas?
So for 8 years, I worked at a refinery, Lyondale. Probably in the news you heard, they're actually closing it down, so glad I don't work there anymore. And then the past 10 years, I've worked for Refined Technology, so I do shutdown consulting. So whenever they're shutting down for maintenance or turnarounds, I go in there and kind of help them devise a plan to shorten the timeline on that.
Very cool. And Imelda, you were nursing?
Yes, clinical tech for.
Very cool. And I was like in financial accounting. So they're like, it doesn't matter what you do. We even have liberals, I think, in this organization, don't we? You can come from any background, do anything you want to do, and you can utilize this and go. So very good. All right. Was I not supposed to say that either? No,
So as you can see there, we signed up in 2017 on that 2-day class. Like I said, we did go to the second day to learn about multifamily, so we really quickly devised a plan to kind of dive in, and we jumped into about 4 passive deals right off the bat. Now we've been in six deals as a passive, and passive investing is really sweet. So anyone who hasn't done it, or any of the new people that are thinking about it, dive in. We got into some, and some of them already sold, doubled our money. Some of them are cash out refi. So pretty sweet.
You see how fast he went over that double our money? Dude, that's peeing your pants exciting, man. You doubled your money.
It is peeing your pants excited. We actually this year have one that's going to sell that we only had for 18 months. That's going to double our money, and another one that we've had for a long 4 years, but it's going to give us 200% return. So that's about 50% per year.
These people out here are making 2% in their crappy IRA.
No doubt.
And you're 200%.
So you did go over the difference between passive and like the lifestyle, right?
Well, we talked about passive because we had a passive mentor up here, but explain what a lead investor is.
So so a lead investor is actually a job. The lead investor actually goes out, finds the property, puts maybe a syndication together to buy the property, operates the property, decides when to sell, when to refinance, do all that stuff, and that's work. Okay, that's a job. So like Imelda said, she retired from this job, she went to this job. A passive investment is truly the lifestyle. You truly will invest with this lead, invest with that lead, invest with that lead, or whatever, and hopefully you get a quarterly check, in the mailbox or whatever every quarter, and you're out traveling around the world, going to all these sites, kind of like Madeline does up there. That she's great at that. That's passive. That is truly the lifestyle. So a lead investor is work. So, very cool.
We'll say on passive investing, everybody talks about how awesome it is to get mailbox money. In 2022, it's actually easier. You don't even go to the mailbox. It's direct deposit money.
Exactly. All right. You ready to move on? So why'd you join Lifestyles?
Well, like we said, we were already in real estate. We actually love real estate. Her family has done real estate their kind of entire lives, but we didn't understand leverage. So it was the buy and hold, pay it off, wait 5 years, buy another one, pay all cash. Yeah, Dave Ramsey, like.
That couple with a single family, you will learn that this weekend. Please come.
Yeah, when I heard that, that was kind of our story. We had so much equity in our houses, we didn't even realize what that equity could do for us. So we were just sitting there with $100K equity on a couple houses, and it was like, bing, we can do a lot more with that money. I listen to the Del Walmsley radio show every day. Even at work when you're not allowed to have a radio, I'd have my little ear pods in and lunch, just listen to the Del Walmsley. I'm thinking, I got to do this. I got to get in. And we came to a 2-day class, and in 2017, that's when we signed up.
Very cool. All right. What do you want?
Yeah, this is the same story with everybody. Everybody wants to make passive income, spend more time with family, travel. We actually have a cool travel. We're going to go to the Grand Canyon, hike, Zion National Park. So we got all kind of fun stuff that we're going to do with some of these returns that we've got. So it's pretty fun. And we want to volunteer with our church and community. That's something we really like. And with my full-time job, it's kind of hard to do that. So we're hoping to one day retire me so that I can give back at church, community, and maybe even in lifestyles like Kirby said.
Very cool. So what are we talking about tonight?
Viento Sereno Apartments, Galveston, Texas, on the island. A little 40-unit apartment complex built in 1969. We were actually passive investors in the deal with a fellow lead investor that's here tonight. And Imelda actually volunteered to property manage that part-time for that lead investor. So we actually had a background already 2 years on this property before we bought it. So we kind of, you talk about being nervous buying that first one. We kind of eased into one because we had 2 years of experience on that property, both managing it and seeing the financials every month. So it made it a little bit easier. But
Imelda, did you get paid to do that?
Yes, I did, but
I know he's in the room.
It was
You
more
better
for the
freaking pay her
experience.
to do that. All right,
Yeah.
good. I was like,
Experience,
So,
though.
some people will do it as an internship. I'm getting told right now that kids work for an internship, they don't get
No,
paid.
it was supposed to be like that, but he was, he figured out to pay me. Like,
He figured it out.
he moved
Here's
some
what's
numbers
cool.
around.
This will happen a lot of times. A member will buy an ugly property, turn around, make good money on it, then they grow and buy a bigger property. But this leaves meat on the bone for them. So even though this other guy made money, the abundance mentality is they can still make money on that same deal. Who likes that idea? Is that not an easy way to ease into this if you've never done it before?
Yes.
yeah, and there's a lot of deals like that. We were joking around talking before the thing like, man, when you see the numbers on this thing, we rip that guy off. But we were passive at this deal, so we kind of ripped ourselves off. So anyway, in last year, we bought it for $83,000 a door, which was about $3.32 million. So another thing that we didn't understand on the 2-day, whenever we came, was I always just envisioned when I heard Dell on the radio, I thought people just had $1.1 million in the bank account. And that's how they were buying apartments. I didn't understand syndication and that we were buying these things as a team. I really didn't understand that. So that was a super thing that I learned on the 2-day. And so that allowed us to raise $1.1 million, which Imelda and I didn't have, just FYI. But with the partners that we had, 22 partners, we raised $1.1 million. And the financing, so we put...
Hold on. We got to slow down a second.
Yeah.
Go ahead, ask what I would ask.
Okay, so this was a syndication. So for you, those of you who are new in the audience, what he's talking about is he's put together a partnership. It's called a syndication of other lifestyle members. That $1.1 million that they raised are from passive investors. He went out to lifestyle members. He goes, we have this deal. Okay, it's called a syndication. It's Viento Sereno. And we're going to put this deal together. If you want to invest, here's our projected returns. If you want to invest, let us know. And $1.1 million are invested. And how many investors did you have?
22.
And what was the size of their investments?
We have some as low as $25K and as high as $100K.
So how many folks in the room can have come $25K? You could be an investor. You might own all the toilets, but you own part of it.
Yeah. Very cool. And so just to understand that when we talk about returns, if you invested $25,000 and then we gave you 10%, It's the same as if you invested 100,000, you get 10%. The percentages will all be the same. So depending on how much you invest, if they have a 200% return, your 25 is going to be 75,000 when you get it back. If you invested 100,000, you're going to get 200,000 when you get back, or 300.
So really quick, were your 22 investors all from that area?
All of them are from Texas.
All of them from Texas?
Not all
Okay.
from Houston area, but they're all in Texas.
Did they all visit the property?
No.
I don't think any of them have.
And I want people out from watching from out of state going, you don't have to live here. You can invest from anywhere. You can even be in communist California. We don't care. You put your money in there, you make a great rate of return. You don't have to visit the property.
Very good. So how did you get over, I mean, you talked about you being nervous and your first time lead. You did have some passive investors. You knew the property, but still, you're purchasing $3.3 million. Have you ever purchased anything that expensive?
Not even close. So the Dave Ramsey would really be upset with me for now I have debt of 2.556.
Exactly. Okay. So initial financing. Okay, so you got a loan on the property, and you did about $65,000 worth of rehab on a $3.3 million property. I will tell you that's not a lot. So why didn't you do more?
Yeah, so the reason there was, again, the lead investor who had it before us, he raised more money for capital improvements, and with Imelda's help running the property, they did a lot of the capital improvements before we bought it. So we were buying it from another preferred investor, and some of those rehabs were already done. So we were looking to really just kind of take off where COVID kind of flatlined that last year, the previous leads owner, and we were going to take off on kind of rent bumps and just a couple of interiors. So we didn't really need a lot, so we just raised $65K for capital improvements.
All right, wait, what year did you buy this in?
10 months ago, July of 2021.
Very cool. That's like in the middle of COVID, though, right?
It was starting to become the end of it. Depends on what state you're in.
That's right.
In Texas, it was over.
Okay. Very cool. All right, so what's this doing now?
Total income with the rents plus the additional income is about $34,500 per month. Total expenses around $15K per month. And that puts the NOI somewhere around $29,500, give or take, each month.
Okay, for those of you that get new, what NOI means is net operating income. The way that we value apartment communities, is that right? Apartment communities, is it's income minus expenses give you a net operating income. That divided by a cap rate is the value of the property, okay? It's not comps like a single family home where I've sold this one for X amount, this one for X amount, and this is my same square footage, it's worth the same amount or a little bit more. It's based on how the property is performing. So the way we increase the value of any property is we raise the income or we decrease the expenses. And it's very hard to decrease expenses because they're kind of going to be a way. They're increasing your taxes, your insurance, payroll, all that stuff is going up. So we try to increase income as much as possible. And if you come again to the 2-day this weekend, they're going to go over like 95 different ways to increase income or something like that. I don't think it's quite that many, but it's a lot, okay? And then after your net operating income, we deduct your mortgage interest payments, your mortgage payments, some capital expenditures, and you get to a monthly cash flow. And you guys are currently cash flowing at what? Around?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to average around 8% to passives, but the property is about 10%, as you see there.
Very nice. Okay, so on month, we're about 10% return. They're distributing that to partners. Have you started distributing yet?
Yes, we've only owned the property for, like I said, 10 months, and we've already distributed $81,000. So we're right at close to 8% already in less than 1 year. And it's actually currently valued at 4.1. So that was partly because we've increased the NOI so much, and then partly just because cap rates, y'all learned about that in the 2-day, have really compressed recently. But again, bought it at 3.3, now worth 4.1 in 10 months. Is it popping on me? Testing.
There you go. Okay, do we have to go back and repeat everything we just said? All right, cool.
Like Dave would say, that's peeing your pants excited. We bought it for 3.3 10 months ago, and it's worth 4.1 now. Peeing your pants excited.
I mean, you look very excited. I'm excited. Don't do that. We'll edit that part out. It's live. We're not going to do that. All right, so again, for y'all that are new, if somebody came, if you invested, however much, 10 months later, you start getting a distribution, how many would be okay with that? Okay? Now, that's what we call a yield play, and we're going to go with that. The property was already producing, it was already functioning like really well, then they bought it. So they knew the day they stepped in, they were going to start making some improvements, increasing cash flow. They knew that it was going to start producing cash, so there was not what we call like a big uplift. If they bought a property that was just dismal and had everything done on the Capitol, needed new roofs, needed new siding, needed to get rid of all these tenants and bring in all these other tenants that would actually pay their rent, and we wouldn't, residents, tenants? Okay, I'm still learning, I tell everybody that. That's called a value play. It's going to take some time to get all that stuff done, to get the income where it needs to be and the expenses for my net operating to be a certain level. That's what we call a value play, okay? So you're not going to probably get a check your first or second quarter or third quarter on a value play because you have to do all this work. On a yield play, you give them the money, and hopefully it starts cash flowing, and you start getting that mailbox money in the first quarter. So kudos. Now, the other thing, you bought this for $3.3 million, and in less than 10 months is worth $4.1 million?
Yes, sir.
That's pretty impressive. Who would be up for that? Okay? And again, depending on how much you invested, depending on your ownership, your same ownership just went up by, your value of your ownership just went up by the exact same amount. That is exciting. Kudos. All right, so let's see a couple pictures before and after. What'd y'all do?
So again, we just kind of continue the plan that the lead and Imelda had already started since 2019. Of just, there was a couple of interiors that still need to be upgraded, and you can just see here we just had some older looking units, and then on the right there we just kind of cleaned up the cabinets. Really kind of a low budget rehab there, but it's been able to give us real huge increases on our rent. So just these little bitty rehabs we're doing are making our NOI go way up. So we're pretty excited about.
Guys, all they did was took the old
A lot of
brown
it is
and just
just
painted them
cosmetic.
white. Does that sound simple? Not bad.
I said a lot of it is just cosmetic work. It didn't take much.
Right. I was going to say, he keeps saying we, but he's working, right? You're the one there, right?
I'm the one there.
I mean, I'm like, this we thing, I get that with my wife too. We are going to do this weekend. I'm like, yeah, that means me. Very cool. All right, so this is the baths. What do y'all do differently there?
Just paint and granite, and that's about it. Light fixtures.
Very cool.
We resurfaced the tubs and stuff like that, but not a lot.
Okay, so they understood what they had. Granted, she was operating the property for a while, right? So she kind of understood what they were doing. So there wasn't a whole lot to do, but a lot of new owners, when they come in, they want to do everything, right? And make everything nice and make it like it's a place you're going to live. That's not what we do here at Lifestyles. They understand what the tenant base is, what the community's base, and what they're leasing. They're not leasing the Taj Mahal, okay? That's not what's up for lease here. It's a very clean product. It's what this area wants, and I think your community is like, they all know each other, right?
Pretty much, and it's like 80% Hispanic.
Okay.
So a lot of them speak Spanish only.
You speak Spanish?
Yes,
Okay. Do you?
that works.
So guys, remember what I said when I first started speaking. We don't do high end. We don't do low end. This is workforce housing. Everybody with me? Not the Taj Mahal. It was perfect how he explained that. So don't over budget. That's what a lot of people do. They over rehab. And the Mentor's got to slap them down for that because they watch those stupid shows on HGTV. Lock those channels.
My wife, we bought an 1890s house. My wife wanted to do that. Disaster. Don't ever do that. Those shows are rigged.
Yeah, a lot of our residents are in hospitality, so it's, they work in the hotels and food industry. So, I mean, they're not very high end.
Very cool. So we teach clean and functional here, and David will go over that, and that's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what that is. You're still raising the rents, though, right?
Yes.
Okay. Very cool. All right. So in doing that, let's talk about the numbers going forward. Year 1, year 2, year 3. Let's talk about your net income, or your net operating income, which you talked to. You're talking in year 1, which you haven't really even had a whole year 1 yet, right?
Nope, just at the 10th month. Not even at the 10th month yet.
Okay.
9.5.
So so even before the 10th month, this is a projection. And year 2 and year 3 are also projections. I won't tell you how I feel about projections because I used to do that for a living, but let's say they can probably do whatever you want them to do. Okay? So let's deal with the actuals that we're talking about in year 1. In year 1, we're literally talking about percents of return that we've already talked about of 8%. So about 30, what is that, about 88,000. You've already paid out 81.
Already paid out 81, yeah.
Okay, so actually you're probably going to do better than that.
Yeah, at the end of the year, I'll have another distribution at the end of June, and so it'll probably push it over 88. Well, it'll probably push it closer to 100K.
Yep, so most likely you're going to have over a 10% return in the first year. That's incredible. Anybody getting a 10% double
okay
digit
with that.
returns? Okay.
Oh,
Wait,
wait, there's more.
but
There's
wait,
something
there's
very
more.
important they're not mentioning. How much taxes are they going to pay on that 10%?
0 if they do it right.
What's to not pay taxes? All right. I want me to understand how powerful that is.
Yes.
Del Walmsleyism, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep.
Exactly. No doubt. So in year 2, you're projecting 8.6%, another 8%, and then 9% in year 3. I think there's a bogus projections because, again, in year 1, we've already done 10%. I'm thinking year 2 and 3 might do a little bit better than that.
Who likes that he's sandbagging his numbers? We love that. We love that. We want you to be conservative.
Okay? And they are very conservative. I've seen their numbers. All right? All right, so let's talk about, we talked about actually equity. So we built equity from 3.3 up to 4.1. How did we do that?
We've increased the rents like we talked about, tried to keep our expenses low, so when we do have to do some rehabs, we're fixing fixtures, fixing some appliances, and making sure we don't get a lot of phone calls to reduce the expenses. So we're trying to do that double-edged sword that Lee was talking about, where we're increasing the rents close up to market while we're trying to reduce the expenses, so you're really boosting the NOI.
And what valuation, how do we value an apartment complex, apartment community? I will get that right someday. It's based on your net operating income, right? So if the net operating income goes up, what happens to the value of the property? Goes up as well. It's divided by what we call a cap rate, which David will go over this weekend, divided by a cap rate, and that gives you the value of the property. So right now, the value of the property in the first year, which we're not even over the first year yet, has gone up $450,000.
Pee in your pants excited.
That is, they're just so excited, right? And then again, a conservative investment in year 2 and year 3. So projected in year 3 is over $750,000 additional investment over what you put into the deal. It'll probably be worth even more than if I was a betting man, right? How many people would be excited about that? Let's give me a hand. That is excellent.
Yeah, so as Dave always says, but wait, there's more. So if you look at that, and those are sandbag numbers, but if we can get 71 to 75% just on the equity alone, plus the 8, 8, and 8,
Yep.
cash on cash return, you're doubling your money in 3 years.
Give him a hand. That's what I teach.
Good. Awesome. All right. So how'd you increase NOI? I think we talked about that, did we not? A little bit?
Yeah, we already talked
We hit
about it.
most.
Melda, would you like to say something? Sure. Whatever you want to say, dear, you say whatever.
Can
Just
y'all
gotta
hear
hold
me?
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when you hold up close, it works.
So we basically by resident retention, when they call, something's broken or whatever, we try to, I guess fix whatever they need or what do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, like within 24 hours, and usually like our residents are kind of spoiled, so it's like within a few hours, and they're used to it. So
So,
it's
so
kind of
I want you to understand this. It's a little bit different in the apartment industry. Normally, the turnover is our biggest, problem. It's like in the industry, it's like 50% turnover every single year. We want to reduce that because it's just like marriage. What's the most important rule in marriage? It's cheaper to keep her. So if they can get them to stay, they don't have to do a make rate. They don't have to do that. So by giving the residents great service, they want to stay longer,
yeah.
and they get that.
So they're not slumlords, right? Y'all get that. We're not operating slum properties or anything. She's taking care of the tenants. If things are broken, she's taking care of that. So that's big. That's what we do. Awesome. All right, so how does lifestyle change your lives? Is that what that says? Yes.
So I basically retired, and I'm doing this full time now, and I make my own schedule, which is my favorite part. I get to be at home with the kids if they need me, and I've pretty much cut back from being there. I'm maybe there once a week. I used to try to go at least 3 times a week. Now I'm there once a week, and I take phone calls every day. But,
So you went from a job working 40 hours a week as a nurse, wiping butts, taking vitals, doing all the stuff nurses do, charting, to a few hours a week.
yes.
Give her a hand. That's huge.
So do you actually like doing what you're doing now?
I do. I enjoy it. Like I said, I make my own schedule. I enjoy talking to the residents. I enjoy, sometimes we turn the apartments. I enjoy seeing the difference, from before and afters. It's just nice.
And I will tell you that from an operational standpoint and from an ownership standpoint, and even from a passive standpoint, investing with these two going forward, they know how the business is supposed to work. They know how things are supposed to work. So next time when they hire a complete staff, when they buy something bigger and they have a complete staff, they will know what that staff is supposed to be doing and how to do it, which is huge, okay? Because they've never owned a property before like this. So if they came in and bought like a 200-unit property and they've got a whole staff, they really have no idea what they're really supposed to be doing, right? So they've done it, so they're going to know. And even when you retire from that, even if you put a third-party management company involved and you guys stepped away a little bit, you would know what that management company is supposed to be doing, which is huge, okay?
Which is the goal for me. I wanted to know, like, you always hear these stories. You hire other, outside companies and you never know what they're doing. But I wanted to learn it, like, from inside out, so.
Very cool. Cool it is.
Yeah, so this is like the first point in their career. It's their first little property, but as they grow, she got that on-job training, basically, knows how to run them. When she has 1,000 units, she'll have people, but she'll know how to run those people or help those people. How to manage people.
Yes.
Yep.
Manage the managers, exactly.
Awesome.
Cool. So what's next for y'all?
We're going to continue to increase NOI on Viento Sereno, like I talked about.
Yeah, you're good.
Still
It's
hear me?
going.
And maybe in year 3 do a sell or refi event. So the passive investors will be happy about that. I think some of them were in the room. We're looking to potentially sometime later this year purchase another deal, lead deal number 2, or an IRO. We're open to both. We're kind of leaning towards lead deal number 2, but like we always say, we're never going to just turn a blind eye to a good deal. We may find a David Fisher special 12 unit that we can double our money in 18 months. We're not going to say no to that. So we're looking for lead deal number 2, but we're open as an IRO also.
Everybody know what an IRO is? It's when you, okay, good.
Yeah, we explained it before you got up
Okay.
there. You were drinking.
It might have been.
And the third bullet I'm kind of excited about. I almost wish Lifestyles Unlimited was a what do you call it, like a multi-level marketing thing. So I've already signed up 6 people, and super excited that one of the guys that I got to sign up just by talking about Lifestyles Unlimited, he signed up actually after me, and this January he actually retired from. He's not my coworker anymore. He's full-time real estate. So I got to help retire one of my friends. So that's a really good feeling.
Very cool. But you're still working.
I'm still working.
Just messing with you.
Long-term goals. Retire me, which is what you're just talking about.
See,
so,
we got to get you out of oil and gas, get you into coke and grass.
absolutely. Travel more often and get deal number 3, deal number 4, and then maybe just start passive investing a lot, because passive investing rocks. So.
Very cool. Very cool. Because that, again, ultimately, that is the lifestyle. All right, so who's on your team? We talk a lot about teams, and on the multifamily side, we definitely have to have a team. I think you talked about this in the single family as well, right? It's very important to get to know your team. So who's on y'all's team?
You?
Yeah.
You're on our team?
You're supposed to courtesy or something. There you go.
And like you said earlier, don't call you for the ins and outs. Call Randa, because you don't really know the ins and outs.
I don't know who's squad.
You do, but Diana Mon, she was here tonight. She was our.
Look at her.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody,
Yes.
that's a super realtor we have. She's awesome at this.
If you're looking for a deal from here to Corpus, she'll hook you up. So we got financed through CBRE. Jim Kirkpatrick, that was one of the Lifestyles vendors. He goes to all the events like the expo and everything. Gene Trowbridge setting up our syndication. We would have had no clue how to do that. We would have gotten so much trouble with the SEC, so he hooked all that up. That's a cool thing about this team, is you don't have to know how to do any of this. You just got to hire the right people and talk to the right people.
Who likes that idea? Just write a check. That's your goal. Yep.
Lee Parkinson for insurance, Bill Pilkington for CPA, and then a bunch of lead investors who have helped us along the way. And that's really the biggest one. Cliff and Kathy out of Corpus Christi. Cliff's the guy I just retired in January. I didn't say he did all the work, but I led him to Lifestyles.
He's follically challenged.
Yeah. We're good friends with even Kirby over here. Like he was talking about, he's met with everybody. We've had dinner with him and talked ideas. Tim Gergenti, who we actually bought the property with, we consider him a good friend. Claude and Martha Whitsitt. Chad and Lisa, who they have properties out in San Antonio, who actually allowed Imelda to drive down there and shadow her whenever they had their first deal. She actually shadowed. Yeah. And then even within Lifestyles Unlimited, this big group, we have small groups. Like we have a Texas City, Galveston County of LU owners, and we'll get together and text each other and meet once a month to try to share ideas with each other. And that's super important too, because they know the actual area where we're investing, and so we can bounce ideas off each other. So that's a super part.
What they just mentioned, I just want to stop for a second because it's very important. If you're new to this and you've never done it before and you buy an apartment, what would your level of success be if, before this case study happened, we probably had 60 owners of apartments in this room all came here. Some of these guys, like Emery was here, he has like 3,000 units. What's your level of success if all these people are willing to open their books and share everything they learned with you? Who agrees that would be better? That's the power of lifestyle. So it's you see this in the front of the room, but you don't realize how much is going on behind the scenes. That's powerful.
Yeah, it's truly a huge networking. That's like the biggest benefit of this place is you're meeting people that have done what you're doing and you want to do, and they're willing to help you. I don't think any of us would be up here if it weren't for the people that helped us to get here. I mean, it's just as simple as that. So, kudos. All right.
Take some questions.
Here you go. Got time for some questions? Think so?
Yep.
All right.
We can take 2 online and 2 in the room if that's okay. Anybody? Bueller? No? Oh, right there's one. Okay, go ahead.
I'm guessing by looking at those numbers, you're in an interest only?
Yes, 3 years interest only. It was a agency loan, which is through Freddie Mac, and we did get 3 years interest only.
Okay,
That's great.
Anybody else? No? Any online, David?
Nope.
We're
All right,
good?
very Well, thank you all very much. Oh,
All
we
right,
got one
well-
down? Wait, I'm sorry.
Well, I got to cover some stuff after you.
No, I think I got a question.
Oh, we have a question over there? Okay.
No, we don't.
Hold on. Go ahead.
I always love to ask, when are you going to buy the next one?
They're looking.
Diana?
Working on them now. There you go. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for giving back and sharing your story. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Lee, for coming up here.